there, folks. How you doing? Woo! Oh, I know we can do better than that. Welcome to the Museum of Pinball, and this is the theater. We've got something going on called Hans Mother Lode Pinball, and I believe there's a prospector to come out here. Hey, prospector, are you out there?
I'm to tell you a story about the Pinball Mother Lode. You fellas want to hear a story?
Somebody wants to.
Okay, I'm going to tell you that story roundabout now. Well. So how's everybody enjoying the Museum of Pinball? Yeah. Good deal. Come on in, we got plenty of room. So how many in here collect pinball machines? So I started collecting probably about, I don't know, 20 years ago or so. And I bought one. I always wondered where they went, because I played pinball when I was a kid, of course. I'm going to drop the beer table on that. I played pinball as a kid.
We'll do the real stuff.
And that's right. Yes, yeah. I played a lot of pinball as a kid, and then for some of you know, when I went to my local arcade, which was a bowling alley at the time, and I went to play pinball, and all of a sudden, all the pinball machines were gone, and it was replaced by what? Space Invaders, that's right, video games, Space Invaders. And I was heartbroken. And so, you know, fast forward 20, 30 years, but all this time I wondered, like, those pinball machines went somewhere. Where did they go? There was hundreds of them. They didn't all just go in the ocean. They didn't get dumped. They gotta be somewhere. And so I remember sitting with my dad and asking him, where did the pinball machine? And then, with the miracle of the internet, along came a website called eBay. And I bought a first thing I got on eBay. I'm listening to see I can get old records and whatnot on here. And my very first eBay, I've been on eBay since 2000. And my very first eBay purchase was 45 records. It was like, you can send money to a complete stranger and they're going to send you what you sent money for. So I'm like, I got to test and see if this is for real or not, right? And so I did. And then one day I'm clicking along, looking at old records I used to have and posters and whatnot. And I wonder, like, oh my God. I wonder if there's pinball machines on eBay. So I carefully typed in pinball machine and hit the search and waited for the little thing to go round and round, and all of a sudden, boom, up came like 2 or 3 back then. That was about it. And I remember the first one I saw was a Williams Spanish-ized pinball machine. And there it was, on eBay for sale, some guy in Arizona or something. It was, I don't know, $300 or $400, not you know, reasonable. And I'm like, oh my God. And that got it all started, right? And so I ended up buying my first pinball machine for $335, a Bally flip-flop, really good condition. It didn't work. My dad, I didn't know how to work on stuff. My dad was a wizard. He had the thing working. He called me one day. He's like, well, of course I took it to his house, right? I didn't have room for it. I lived in an apartment. So I went to my parents' house. And all of a sudden he calls me one day and he says, hey son, listen to this. Ding, 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 ding. I'm like, oh my God, you gotta go, you gotta go. And jumped in my car and raced over there and started playing my new pinball machine. And then so I had it for a while and I collected a couple more and I was working on them and whatnot. And I said, I wonder, God, I'm sure it'd be nice if I could support this hobby, you know, somehow without spending money on it. So maybe I could sell the pinball machine, maybe I'll do it. So I put it on, I fixed it all up and did a really, really good ad. I took pictures of every angle and waxed it and did all, you know, really long description of how fun it is and the cowboy theme and all that. And lo and behold, I got a really good number for it. And so I'm like, wow, this is actually possible. I can actually buy low and sell high. The thing, right? And then so I said, oh, I need inventory though. I can't do these onesie-twosie games like John was doing, right? Driving, you know, 200 miles for one game and you got to fix it and stuff. I need to find 3 or 4, 5, 10. I want to find a frickin' warehouse full of pinball machines. So I got to supply and then I can make this all work, right? So I started looking online for always like do search terms like a lot of pinball machines, you know, dozens of pinball machines, 10 Gottliebs, whatever. And then so finally I found this big old warehouse, but it was up in Ohio. But my friend, who happens to be in the room right now, happened to live in Georgia at the time. And I'm looking at the U.S. map, well, Alabama actually. I'm like, shit, Alabama, Ohio's not that far from Alabama. Maybe he'll drive on up there. Check him out for me, right? I'm out in California. I'm like, come on, we'll go in on this. You'll help it out. We'll make a good deal on it and stuff like that. And so that's where the old prospector hits. You ever heard of, what's that fake gold that prospectors find? They're looking for stuff? Fool's gold. And so look out for fool's gold. So there's the warehouse, right? And the old miner, he's a little stressed out there. And because the reason was, it was a warehouse full of crap. And there he is right there. It happened to be winter, by the way. Did I mention that? I made him drive up to Ohio in the winter time. So he's got his hunting suit on there. And this guy had all these storage units. See the snow? All these storage units filled with, and their just stuff was just termite ridden and just bees. I'm like, how's it look, man? How's it look? You don't want this crap. I'm like, I do, I can fix it. Don't worry, I know I can. Like, this is crap, man. We don't want this. I'm like, oh, it's just so demoralized, you know. And so I said, what am I going to do now? So fast forward, I'm on a vacation up in Canada. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, and so I'm walking around the streets of Vancouver, and there's this game shop there. It's got board games and whatnot, and all. It's just kind of dingy, you know, and old, but it's got all these really cool games and stuff. And so I go in, and there's a couple pinball machines there. They're not on, but I'm like, wow, it's gonna be a pinball. So I get back and I call the shop after I get home. Hey, I saw that Captain Fantastic pinball machine. Like, oh, it's like $1,500. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. So fast forward, I don't know, 5 years later, I'm back in Vancouver on a business trip. And I got there in the morning and the seminar wasn't until the evening. So I'm like, oh, I'm kill time. God, I wonder if that old game store's still there. So I walked down the street and at that point, I put two and two together from eBay. This guy who owned it was selling flyers on eBay, the old pinball flyers. He had all originals though, and he sold them, tons of them. And so I bought a couple flyers from him. So I walk into his shop and, yeah, there's the gold miner, Eureka, right? I walk into his shop, and so there's a clerk there, and I said, well, how, does this guy sell the pinball flyers? There used to be pinball machines here. There is, and he's down the street, let me call him. So he hands me the phone. I'm like, standing in this game shop. Hello, he's like, who's this? I'm like, I'm in your shop, sir, I'm a customer. And he says, well, what do you do? I said, I fix pinball machines to sell them. And he said, well, what are you looking for? I said, well, ultimately, I'd like to find a warehouse full of pinball machines. He's like, warehouse full of pinball machines, huh? I said, yeah. He's like, can you be there tomorrow morning? I said, no, I'm flying to Whistler tomorrow for the seminar. Well, how can you be there in 10 minutes? I said, sure, I'll wait. So this guy comes on up from down the street. He's down the pub down the street. And this is a little shop, nondescript. The next picture's my favorite. So that's the ground floor, right? This is a area called Gastown in Vancouver. It's like a really cool little quaint area. And so that's the first floor. And so I go inside, and if you look up from where I'm standing on that sidewalk, that's the building, 8 stories. This guy, I walk in there, he's like, so I introduce myself, I tell him, hey, I'm here with my eBay president, I bought a few flyers from you before, and I'd love to, he's like, come with me. He walks me back in this warehouse. We get one of those old freight elevators with the wooden gate that opens up. Thing rattles, takes me all the way to the top of this building and tours me through 8 stories filled with pinball machines that had all been sitting there for 30 years untouched.
Whoa.
30 years. And arcades, pinball arcades, pool tables, foosball, you name it, filled. And I'm like, it's one of those things where I was doing some personal development, Tony Robbins stuff at the time, like, vision what you want in life, and it'll come. I'm like, holy shit, this stuff works. I was like, oh my God. But I'm still pinching. I'm just like, this can't be. And I'm every title, I'm just going, so I'm gonna give you that tour right now, right? So up the top we go. Here we go. So this is the ground, just the horse. You can see it's just jammed with all these toys and games. You got a couple of videos in there and whatnot. You know, old threadbare carpet. It's been there a long time. There we go. So top of the 7th floor. The reason I say how many floors I say? You remember 8. There's a basement. All right. So we started at 7, right? So I'm looking around, you can see the stuff's just stuffed in there. I'm like, okay, God, look at the EMs there. We got a hoedown, we got a jukebox there. I'm like, all right, we're doing okay. And then so, keep on going. Eureka! New in the box Ricochet, in 1976, Nutting. Nutting is one of the first video game companies, and it's new in the box. This is 2005.
Whoa.
New in the box. I'm like, oh my God, am I onto something? And so but all along, he's an older guy, he's telling me the story and stuff, and I'll get to that later. So I'm just like, wow, so it's still the 7th floor. Right? We're walking along, and then we come around the corner. Wow, we're looking, so all stood up, they're all in great condition, the play fields are great, we got European games. That's a Williams Aztec over there. This is an Interflip Dragon, really rare European game.
On top of that.
You tell me. Yeah, there's that probably is a Liberty Bell cabinet up there. Yep. Still on the 7th floor. Boom. Junkyard. Ever heard of Americoin Junkyard?
Yes.
It's an old arcade game where you pick up a crane, picks up little toy cars and drops them. Yep, we do too. Yeah, don't we? Yep, brand new in the box from 1976. This is 2005. You know the value of that in the new. I mean, anyway. So I'm just like, wow. My brain's just going, okay, what can I do? How am I going to work this out? What am I going to do? How am I going to get this guy to pry loose some of those hunks of gold down in this mine, right? We're walking along, and then just pinball after pinball. So the things are all, there's a firepower there. Yeah. Yes.
At this point, is he interested in selling them, or is he showing you his?
So he's shown me. So what? I'm glad you asked, David. So I did the quick tour with him, and then I said, hey, I'm going to Whistler for a week for seminar. I'll be back down in Vancouver like 5 days from now. Can we meet then? So I just wanted to agree to meet with him to open the discussions.
But when he did the tour, was it?
Not too much. He was pretty. He just kind of wanted to. He was trying to feel. Yeah, and I'm like, so I had to be careful because I'm just like, you just want to pounce. I'm like, no, you got to take it easy with this guy. So he agreed to meet with me with one of his associates 5 days later. So I spent the whole time in Whistler, just like, oh my god, thinking I'm interviewing. What ideas? What questions should I ask? How should I structure this? On and on. So that's 7th floor. Just endless. I mean, there's a Klondike, there's a Flash, and all these solid states are in great shape because these all went in here in '81. So all the early Williams games are only 2 years old, so they're excellent condition.
Wait, so how many pinball machines were there in the warehouse?
Oh my god, that's a good question. I don't know. I'd say probably 500 to 1,000.
Wow.
We got here.
And I have so many. I have some of the photos I had to parse through. I had a dozen photos, so I just got snap. There's 2 flash cabinets right there. There's a solar right there. Everything's dusty. You can see with that dust, everything it's pristine under it. The stuff was very carefully put in there. We're still in 7th. Now we're down the 6th floor. I was in 7th floor. Next floor down. Games. You can see there's legs. There's an 8-ball there. There's just stuff's crammed in, but there's a lot of stuff in addition to pinball. You'll see. Boom. Another Eureka! Robotron Minis, brand new in the box. There was like 3 or 4 of them there. Yeah. So, yeah, there was some amazing stuff. So down the 6th floor here, we continue. Oh, there's the big Eureka. I get double guy. There's woohoo! Black Knights, brand new in the box. Oh my God! Yep. And so I'm like, oh God, it was just really getting
I
excited.
don't have any work to do on those, though. It wouldn't be very fun.
I can't take it.
All right, double Eureka on that one, and he knew what he had to. So we'll talk more about the guy. Okay, here's the question. So look at this. Look at all these toys. These are like toys. There's plush, those Beanie Babies everywhere. Cases and cases of it, and games and puzzles, and because it was a game store. So why all the toys? So the deal was, and I'll get more into who this guy was later. But he had a bunch of arcades, which closed down, so we put everything in the warehouse. And then he had a bunch, like 10 toy stores and really good game stores, like Dungeons and Dragons stuff. There's thousands of games out there that never sell light of day. I mean, it's insane how many games exist for gamers. And so he had all these games. Anyway, his son worked with them, they're partners, and his son said, Dad, I'm going to go to college and become an aerospace engineer. So it kind of broke the old man's heart, shut down all the stores but 2, so all the inventory went in this warehouse ever since then. And so at this point, he was running the game store you saw, and another one in a small mall recently. He just stocked that and keep it going. But he was getting older, and he knew he had to do something with his stuff, so that's kind of where I came in. Make Tracks, a brand new in the box Make Tracks. Biorhythm was an old 70s game where you put in your birthday and stuff and it would spit out a little like fortune, or you're going to tell your fortune. Those are brand new in the box from like the early 70s. A bunch of them. European games, Icarus. He was the distributor for the European Sagasa and European games, so you have brand new in the box European pinball machines as well. And then this is just, you can just see, this is the two of the floors, but just the warehouse goes on up there. There's a Galaxian, brand new in the box there. Luigi's Pizzas, the little guy who dances around and makes pizzas, a marionette thing you put a quarter in. That's new. And then also bulk vendors. He's got tons of gumball machines. There's a Charlie horse ride in there, kiddie rides, all brand new. I mean, just incredible amount of stuff. 5th floor, now we're starting the 5th floor. One-on-one basketball, whole video game, new in the box. Yeah, a couple of them actually on pallets there. Pool tables. I think he said he had 400 pool tables in there. Still in the box. A lot of stuff. Brand new in the box. And see all the puzzles, there's just stuff everywhere. And he knew where everything was. So his employee from the other toy store would call him and say, okay, I sold this guy sold a dozen things, whatever. And he'd walk through there and he said, I keep it all on my neck top computer. Can you remember where everything was? It was incredible. And he could add numbers he could add 6-digit numbers. The guy was brilliant. And a little eccentric too, you might imagine.
Slightly.
Slightly. More games, old football, an original Pong, one of the first video games ever. Driver game. More stuff. We're on the 4th floor now, but as you can just see, there's just cramped. It's not like, there's not even room for a hand truck. I'm like crawling over to get these photos. I'm like, getting stuff out of here is not going to be easy. A couple Captain Fantastics I got out of there.
Starship.
Yep, a nice Starship 1. Come on in. What do we got? Brand new playfields. Parts, he's got brand spanking new NOS playfields in there. A couple more new in the box games there. Devil Zone. I haven't showed you the good part yet. So floor 3 was nothing but pinball parts. The parts alone, the museum could use all new pinball parts for just pallets of pinball parts ready to go. All right. And this is the 2nd floor, a nutting space. Computer space, thank you. Yep, see, this is a brand new something in a crate, some kind of a riding game in a crate as well. There's a ringer, it's a fun EM game. It's a horseshoe toss game. Again, I'm just going insane. This can't. It's just one floor after another. So it's not. I'm only what
2nd floor.
Halfway through, a little over halfway through it now.
How old is this guy are we talking about?
How old is he?
Was he? Yeah.
At the time, he was in his 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fairly young.
Okay, so then we get down, this was like the 2nd floor, so a lot of the game is actually, this used to be a retail floor, so you see the wood and everything, and there's a lot more games and kind of this game inventory here, a couple star reviews, but even then, there's pinball machines crammed in every nook and cranny. Okay, and then Eureka, the basement, so all that, the best part I hadn't even seen yet, the basement was all pinball. So everything else upstairs, we had video and this and solid state, it was almost all EM pinball too, so this sea of heads you see, there's a body vertically below all those. That's looking one way, then I turn my head. This is looking the other way.
Wow.
Yeah, look at it, just to see, these are not copies of photos. These are looking 2 directions in a huge warehouse. Okay, more beautiful twin rifle. Another new in the box Williams game. And then, but wait, there's more, Sister Vein of Gold. And so he showed me, this wasn't on this first trip, but later he's like, by the way, is there any market for like those home pinball machines? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, the ones they made for home back in the 70s? Like, I said, well, I don't know, were they in good condition? Oh, they're brand new in the box. I'm like, oh. So he took me over here. This is a Skyhawk, there's a Skyhawk, and then there's a Big Top as well. 2 70s home pinball games, but he had dozens of them brand new in the box, ready to go. Still have the strapping on it. Another warehouse he took me over to. All right. So, who was this guy? What the heck? How did he have all these pinball machines? His name is Dale Johnson, Canadian, again. Dale was, So Dale he's an amazing guy. So basically he started with coin out. It was said if you put a coin to buy a stick of gum, a pack of cigarettes back in the day, play a song or play a game, you're paying Dale. He basically had operations all over Canada, and he held exclusive distribution rights. I think, I'm not know officially, don't say it, but I'm almost nearly positive in Canada he was the master distributor for Bally, Gottlieb, Williams, Wurlitzer. He owned and operated a bunch of arcades and toy stores, and this is a great story he told me once. Steve Jobs once brought him coffee. He got a call, because he was such a big distributor. Nolan Bushnell, when he first started making video games, he's like, or through his distributor, he didn't know Nolan, but this distributor said, hey, you might want to go down to San Jose, California. This guy's doing some cool stuff with it. It's like he says it's the future of coin op or whatever. So Dale and a few others were invited down there to meet with Nolan, and he was tinkering around, and some kid was bringing him coffee with, some interested kid was bringing him coffee with Steve Jobs.
Wow.
Steve Jobs once brought him and Nolan Bushnell coffee. And then he managed his immense inventory using his neck top computer. And this is me and Dale in one of his toy stores. So I really grew to like the guy a lot. We developed a relationship. I'd stay at his loft and stuff, but it took a long time. And this is a Canadian map. All the pins, those are all that's his distribution network in Canada. So he basically had all of Canada. So yeah, just tightening the industry. And then so where do we go from here? Staking the claim. I saw it, I'm like, boy, I want to stake that claim. staking the claim is making a deal with old Dale. So I took several trips to Vancouver. And this is kind of my inventory I dug up. All told, I got 57 machines, 57 pinball machines out of there. And the sad thing is, I was just into electromechanical machines, so I just walked past all those beautiful flashes and those black knights and all that. I got one brand new black knight. It wasn't in the box, but it was still brand new. It still had the paper on it and all that. And I got a brand new dragon, interflip dragon as well. And then getting excavation, getting them out of there. Like I said, there was not even aisleways. It's not like you just pull a hand truck in. I had to move. Luckily, he gave me one of his employees to help excavate and get me out of there. But there's the loading dock back there. There's old Dale back there pacing by his loading dock. So we're finally getting him staged by the back door. There's the old elevator I was telling you about. There's my U-Haul. And there's a road trip, Mount Shasta, on the way down. And there's the load. So that's the back of a U-Haul, just jammed full of beautiful pinball machines. I was just on cloud driving down the road with all these pinball machines. I'm like, I can't believe this. I found it. Life's going to be great. I'm just going to keep getting machines out of here. Anyway, so brought all these down and started working on them. Turned my garage into a full pinball shop. Here I am working on the games in the garage. I'm in Cloud 9. I got booths at events, so I'd set up a booth and sell the games. Anybody have one of these in their front yard? North American Van Lines, either delivering or loading a machine. They came many times, shipped the games. So it was going well, and we basically, but he wouldn't just let me come and take all the games. What we ultimately got to is we had to take everything. And so I'm calculating. I literally did calculation. I went through of how much stuff was really in this place, right? So I estimated, I'm not kidding, I estimated 50 semi-loads full.
Huh?
50.
Wow.
Full 18-wheelers filled with merchandise. And how big a truck is, and pallets, and shrink wrap, and so we started looking at, we wrote a business plan for them, and with details. We were going to lease a huge space down in San Jose and open a freaking toy store. Just the perverse thing about it is, I just wanted the pinball machines, and here I'm getting into the toy and game and puzzle business just to be able to get these pinball machines. Sure. Like I said, there were hundreds of them in there, and I already had a taste of honey because I knew what condition they were in. I mean, this is the condition of these. So. There's the dragons. You can see that's the interflip dragon. Every single one of them had all the manuals inside, the extra scorecards, the original notes are all in there, and he even had flyers. So he had all the original flyers, unfolded flyers. He'd give me a flyer for every game. So each game I sold, I'd frame the original flyer and do a really nice eBay ad. And it went well. They sold for good value at the time. But ultimately, he really wanted to just move everything. And so after about a year of trying and writing business plans and trips up there, and the bank account's going down, and we're not moving enough stuff, and I took a trip up there. I'm like, okay, we need to sell. I got to test these games. I don't know about Dungeons and Dragons and that those people out there who play those games. So I took all these games. This is gonna be great. I'll put them on eBay. Oh my God, that's such a rare game. A board game, new in the box board game with a wrap on it's gonna sell for like 20, 30, 40 bucks. So he went down to the pub. He actually let me in his shop and locked me in. And I took my camera and I took pictures of probably 50 different games of all these different games he had. And I went through and I listed them on eBay. I'm like, this is gonna be great. Nothing. Huh. No bids, no nothing. There was zero market for them. I'm like, oh no. Well, and he was, super passionate about it. I'm like, oh, I know so-and-so built this game. He got investment, and he's got the board pieces and all. He just knew every intricate detail. I said, these things aren't worth it. Because eBay's got a lot of eyes on it, right? So unfortunately, I was like, these games are gonna be really hard to move. And then so I started thinking, okay, what else does he have? He had these Britain's figures, those like die-cast figures and stuff. He had tons of those. I'm like, those will move. HO train sets, he had that stuff. And I said, that'll move. And so, but he got a little nervous about me just trying to go in there and pulling stuff out. And so ultimately he, and this is the lesson I learned from him, which is great, because he had all this stuff, and he didn't want to leave this mess to his kids. This warehouse full of stuff and everything. So he did what he didn't want to do. He ended up liquidating all of it for pennies on the dollar. And the sad thing is, I didn't even get my butt up there to the auction. I could have bought, this stuff but it was too late. It was just too late. And I really was honestly going to give him a fair shake for it, but I can't blame him. The guy really didn't want to leave all this to his kids, and it was a last-ditch effort. His landlord was all over him to empty that warehouse. And so at the end of the day, he got rid of all of it. He cleaned it up, and then a couple years later, I learned that he passed away, and that's the end of the story. So I think one more. Yeah, that's me. So questions and answers. I'd love to ask you a question.